Since the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion at colleges and universities across the country led to the Supreme Court ruling race could not be used in college admissions, you have seen enrollments surging in HBCUs, but they were actually surging in HBCUs even before that Supreme Court decision. What's going on? President of Johnson C. Smith University, Dr. Valerie Kinloch, joins us right now. Glad to have you here. First of all, Doc, so you say that Supreme Court decision is what is the reason for Johnson C. Smith's record high enrollment?
I mean, there are many reasons. And first of all, thank you for having me. But there are many reasons for a record enrollment. We are here at Johnson C. Smith University, founded in 1867. And in part, it is because of the Supreme Court decision that says we're not going to continue to support affirmative action. And we have lots of people who actually should be in universities, particularly Black people in this country, who now feel as if they cannot attend because they might not get accepted. But let me be clear. Historically, Black colleges and universities in this country have always prepared Black and brown folks for excellence and success in the world. And a Supreme Court decision is not going to stop us from doing that. But it does help us when we talk about our enrollment. It does help us when we try to elevate our academic enterprise and we prepare students for success. And that's what we're seeing here at JCSU.
What is your enrollment this year?
So currently, we are at 1,300 plus students who are registered and cleared and who are here taking classes, whether they are first-time students, transfer students, returning students, adult students. And so last year, we were sitting at 1,100. And so we're seeing about 1,300, 1,314 currently as of today.
What is your capacity?
Hey, my capacity is what we need it to be. I want to get 1,500 students.
First of all, when I say capacity, the reason I say that is because what we've seen, Tennessee State, Florida A&M, Morehouse, Spelman, Texas Southern University, that because of the increase in applications and enrollment, you got to have facilities. And so a lot of these folks have had to rent hotel rooms and things along those lines. And so when I say capacity, like for instance, Fisk University, they had a capacity number. Their numbers dropped big time, but they're like, well, hey, this is what our capacity is and how we can go beyond it. So from a facility standpoint, from a dorm standpoint, what is your capacity for students on campus? And then what is your goal to be able to get to that and actually expand it beyond that?
That is a great question. So currently we are at capacity. At 1,314, we are at capacity. The goal, however, is to revitalize our residence halls. We have a large residence hall that unfortunately is offline that has the capacity to hold at least 235 more students. And so my goal is to work at ensuring that we open that residence hall, we renovate it, and we provide space for our students to be here. Now, where do I want to go? I want us to get to 1,600 or more. Historically, we've hovered around 1,400, 1,410, but I believe that if we have our residence halls where they should be, we would be able to have more students coming in to our university.
And so, I asked that because I've talked to so many other presidents, and good problems lead to bad problems. Oh, yeah. And also we talk about growth. I remember having this conversation with Dr. Van Newkirk when he was at Fisk. He's now in Wilberforce. He also was trying to explain to the board of trustees there. Folks kept talking about new dorms. He was like, "Yo, slow down. We can also expand university enrollment by folks who want to go online, who want to be a part of Fisk University, but who may not be able to afford to come to Nashville. They can still go online." So when you look at your projections, what does that look like? Do you have students right now that attend Johnson C. Smith online? And if so, how many?
We have a few. We are not offering a real online experience at the moment. What COVID did to so many HBCUs and so many universities, if not all of them, was to force us to pivot by using Zoom. Zoom is not Zoom is what it is. But when we talk about online education,
Right.
we are trying to create a platform by which we can deliver better online educational experiences. We have some of our classes that are doing very well online. But the reality is exactly what you just said. When we talk about capacity, we have to be able to have hard conversations with our board of trustees, with our faculty and our staff about if we are going to increase enrollment, we do that by having housing available for students to live on campus. We are a residential campus, and we need to have adequate housing for our students. At the same time, we need to think differently about the population of students coming into the university. We don't just have 18-year-olds. We have adult learners. We have students who are returning to the university campus, and we also need to have an online population of students. And we can get that done here, but we need to talk about the space that we need available, whether it's online and in our residence halls. And that's urgent. That's really urgent for many HBCUs.
And so with that, what is your growth plan? You talked about getting that dorm online. What is that going to take? How much is that going to take? And then from a standpoint of when, can it be open by fall 2025, or are we talking about 2026?
All right, so what I'm talking about is fall 2025 is my hope, is my goal, and yet it takes funders to be able to see the value of investing in facilities infrastructure. And it's not the sexy thing. It's not the thing that people want to invest in, but it's the thing that will support our students and get us our enrollment.
But what's the number? But what's the number?
That we'll have it.
But what's the number? In order to bring that dorm back online, what is it going to cost you?
I mean, it's going to cost me at least $12 million.
In order to bring that...
in order to bring it back online and have full capacity with every room renovated with the spaces that we need and with students who are able to occupy that building in its entirety.
And so what is the tuition for a year for a student at Johnson C. Smith? Tuition and room and board for a year. Just give me a ballpark number.
What's a ballpark number? Trying to figure that out right now. I got my colleagues here. What's the ballpark number? I mean, tuition can be like $20,000. We're private.
Right.
And yet we have tuition discounts like many universities do. And we have currently moving from 1,100 to 1,300 students. And so that's what it is at the moment.
Got it. Before I go to Scott and Rebecca with questions, what would you say are your three main majors in terms of what do you focus on that gets students to come to Johnson C. Smith?
Business and business administration is definitely a top major, including anything in business, finance and management in particular. We also have STEM. We have a great STEM program, a college of STEM and professional studies. We have a master's in social work. I mean, those programs get our students to come. We're in Charlotte, and Charlotte is one of the top destinations for people who want to think about corporate America or businesses, marketing, finance, the healthcare industry. And I believe that those are the areas that will continue to drive this economy, but also those are the degrees that students, for the most part, are coming to actually study at Johnson C. Smith University. Now, I would not be fair if I only talk about those majors. I also have to talk about the liberal arts. We have students who come here and who want to be political scientists. They want to be the next governor or senator or US president. So they're studying political science. We have students who are also coming here who want to do music education. And they can combine music education with business to have a robust experience. And so those are some of our top majors. And apologies to my faculty if I missed any of them.
Questions from our panels. Rebecca, you first.
Thank you so much for your leadership. So I lead a national voting rights organization, and we have the largest C3 civic engagement for campuses in the country. We do a lot of HBCU work, including North Carolina. We were on your campus in 2023 where we hire students. They work with administrators to make sure that there is a plan for civic engagement. I don't think we have a student yet on your campus this fall, and I want to hire a couple of your students to work with you and your administrators administration to help organize civic engagement, everything from voting, but then also to make students more active. Because when students are active in that way, they have better academic success. So can I work with you to hire one or two of your students to do some great work? That's
a definite, that's an absolutely you can. And let's actually exchange contact information so that we can be in touch directly. And the reality is, if we don't have a student yet, which you said we don't, then we need to. And I'm committed to making sure we have at least 2 or more students who are participating. We just had a meeting about voting and turning out the vote, coming out and supporting Black voter participation, but also talking about civic engagement. And this is the work that we should be doing. So I am committed to this.
Absolutely. We are C3. We're working on the majority of the HBCUs in North Carolina with North Carolina Black Alliance raising the bar. So I look forward to working with you offline.
I would love to. Thank you.
Scott.
Hey, Doctor. Scott Bolden here. Appreciate your leadership. I happen to sit on the Board of Trustees for Morehouse College, and I chair the governance committee. That growth issue is a tricky thing. I live with it with Dr. Thomas and Chairman Willie Woods, but I will say this, and here's my question. If 500 or 1,000 students show up and you don't have the capacity for them, you don't have the capacity for them. So it's measured, if you will. And endowment is important, but also being able to upgrade your facilities, expand your facilities. Are you looking at any creative financing mechanisms like tax increment financing, nonprofit bonds, partnering with housing authorities in your local jurisdiction, or even partnering with developers who will build it and then you finance it over several years by creating a student fee, say for a student center? I think every HBCU has got to look at all of those issues when they grow and expand, because this influx of students from Morehouse and or Johnson C. Smith is not going to stop. And there's a lot of, most of us are debt free now, at least we were 2 or 3 years ago, based on federal legislation. So can you talk a little bit about how you get there sooner than later through non-traditional financing means?
Absolutely. And that's the answer, through non-traditional financing means. By looking at our property and understanding that some of them should be leased. How do we drive business and revenue into the university, but also, I want to be clear, into the historic West End district, which is where we live and where we work. And so how do we do that? By engaging developers. I have been meeting with so many developers who are committed to Johnson C. Smith, but who are also committed to growth, who are also committed to repairing relationships between the university and the surrounding community. And so I think that leveraging those partnerships will be so important, but also understanding we need to think about revenue generation in multiple ways. It's not just about students and tuition. It's about students, tuition, but also how do we get more revenue from diversifying our portfolio? How do we think differently about growing our endowment? How do we think differently about the types of vendors who are on campus, and how do we support them as they are also supporting us? And then I think the last part I will add into this is, I've been dreaming about a convocation center. And in dreaming about a convocation center, it would be a space where we own our lands. We would create this convocation center that would be a multi-purpose space. And it would be for the community, for businesses, for industries, for the athletics teams in Charlotte and beyond. And it would also be a hub for our students' excellence. That would also increase revenue. But the days of thinking about revenue only by thinking about enrollment, those days are, if not over, very limited.
Yeah. Good luck. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
All right, then. Well, Doc, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us on the show, and good luck.
All right. Well, thank you, Roland Martin. I appreciate you.
All right, Dr. Kinloch, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause Too long have others spoken for us.
We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.